What if the reason you're exhausted isn't because you're weak, but because you've been giving your energy to the wrong people? Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your time, your peace, your mind. In this audiobook, you'll learn how to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. You'll discover how to set boundaries without guilt, walk away without explaining, and stay calm in a world addicted to chaos. Your peace is your power, and starting today, you take it back. Chapter 1. Your energy is a currency. Spend it wisely. Your energy is more valuable than money. You can earn back money. You can't earn back wasted peace, focus, or time. Every conversation, every thought, every person you give your energy to is like spending a piece of yourself. That's why you must treat it like a currency. Spend it where it grows you, not where it drains you. You don't need to give your energy to everything that asks for it. Some people want your attention just to waste it. Some problems want your reaction just to keep you stuck. The wise protect their energy like a treasure, not because they're selfish, but because they're finally smart about what's worth it. Start paying attention to how you feel after certain people, places, or habits. Do you feel lighter, or do you feel drained, tired, and low? That's your energy speaking. And your energy never lies. When something feels heavy every time, it's a cost you can't afford to keep paying. The world will keep pulling on your energy if you let it. Social media, endless notifications, pointless arguments, fake support, all of it takes something from you. Protecting your energy doesn't mean you shut down. It means you choose wisely what gets access to your attention. Every time you say yes to something, you say no to something else. Saying yes to people who disrespect your boundaries is saying no to your peace. Saying yes to distractions is saying no to your growth. It's time to make different choices, not from guilt, but from wisdom. Energy flows where focus goes. If you focus on problems all day, you'll feel drained. But if you focus on growth, peace, and your goals, you'll feel stronger. The energy you give becomes the life you live. So be intentional. Spend your energy in the direction you want your life to grow. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. Some silence is not weakness. It's protection. It's you choosing not to waste energy on people who've already shown they don't deserve it. Every day, you wake up with a limited amount of mental and emotional energy. Don't use it all on people who don't listen or things you can't change. Save it for your goals. Save it for your healing. Save it for your future. Because when your energy is right, everything else gets better. The strongest people are not the busiest. They're the most intentional. They know how to say no without guilt. They know how to walk away without drama. Because they've learned that protecting your energy is the first step to protecting your future. So ask yourself, who drains you? What steals your focus? Which habits exhaust you? Then start cutting the leaks, not from anger, from wisdom, because every time you protect your energy, you take back your power, and from that power, everything begins to change. Chapter 2. The Power of Saying No Without Guilt. Saying no is not rejection, it's self-respect. You don't need to explain why you're not available. You don't owe anyone access to your time, energy, or peace. When you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what builds you. It's not about pushing people away. It's about keeping yourself whole. Most people struggle to say no because they fear being disliked, but being liked by everyone at the cost of your own peace is not success. It's self-neglect. You weren't born to please everyone. You were born to live a focused, purposeful life. And that starts with honoring your own needs. Guilt is a trap. It tells you that saying no makes you selfish. But boundaries are not selfish. They're necessary. They protect your mental health. They guard your energy. You're not a bad person for saying no. You're a wise one for knowing your limits. You don't have to stretch yourself thin just to keep the peace. Peace that comes at the cost of your well-being isn't peace. It's silent suffering. And the more you practice saying no, the more your nervous system will thank you. you'll feel lighter, calmer, and more in control of your life. Saying yes when you mean no leads to resentment. You show up to places you don't want to be. You give time you don't have. You sacrifice sleep, joy, and clarity just to avoid conflict. But in the end, the real conflict is with yourself. That's why boundaries matter more than approval. You can be kind and still say no. You can care and still choose yourself. Empathy doesn't mean overextending. Love doesn't mean self-abandonment. You can support people without draining yourself. Real love includes honesty, and sometimes honesty means setting limits. The people who truly care about you will understand your no. They won't guilt you. They won't pressure you. They'll respect you more for being clear and honest. And those who don't respect it, that's your answer. Boundaries reveal who values you beyond what you give. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to over-explain, justify, or apologize. Your reasons are your own, and your life is your responsibility. Every time you explain your no too much, you invite negotiation. But boundaries don't need debate. They need consistency. You train people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you always say yes, they'll assume you're always available. But the moment you start saying no with strength and calm, they learn. They adjust. You set the new standard, and your peace becomes non-negotiable. Saying no gives you space to say yes to what actually matters. Yes to your rest. Yes to your goals. Yes to healing. Yes to presence. Every no creates room. Every no protects your path. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions disguised as opportunities. The truth is, your time is not replaceable. Your energy is not infinite. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align, you say no to something that does. And over time, that pattern will steal your purpose. But a single no can begin to shift everything back. So today, start small. Say no without apology. Say no without fear. Say no with love, but with firmness. You don't have to wait for burnout to start honoring your limits. The power of no is real. Use it, and you'll find a version of yourself that's stronger, clearer, and finally at peace. Chapter 3. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay close forever. Some people were only meant to teach you something, not walk the whole journey with you. And that's okay. The mistake is keeping them too close, even after they've stopped adding value. Your life is a performance of purpose, and not every role is permanent. Think of your life like a theater. The front row is for people who support you, challenge you, and help you grow. But too often we let critics, doubters, and energy drainers sit where encouragers should be. You can't rise if you keep giving your best view to those who bring out your worst. Proximity is a privilege. Just because someone has history with you doesn't mean they deserve access to your future. Loyalty has limits, especially when it costs you your peace, your purpose, or your identity. Don't confuse time spent with trust earned. You don't have to hate people to move them back a few rows. Distance doesn't always mean disconnection. Sometimes it's just protection. Protecting your energy, protecting your focus, protecting your healing. You can love someone and still know they're not safe for your peace. The people closest to you influence how you see yourself. If they constantly criticize, doubt, or dismiss your dreams, they are not supporting you. They're sabotaging you quietly. Front row people should lift you, not limit you. They should believe in your potential, not fear your growth. You don't need to explain when you create space. Growth doesn't need permission. It needs direction. If someone gets offended because you set boundaries, they were benefiting from your lack of them. Keep your peace. Let your silence speak where your words are no longer respected. Some people are comfortable with the old version of you, the one who didn't set limits, the one who tolerated disrespect. But as you evolve, your circle will shift. That's not disloyalty. That's transformation. You can't carry everyone into your next level. Some were only built for the entry phase. There's a cost to keeping the wrong people close. It costs you clarity. It costs you confidence. It costs you time. And time is something you never get back. Choose carefully who gets your front row energy. Because not everyone clapping is really cheering for you. Your vibe teaches people how to treat you. If you let critics sit up front, they'll think they own the stage. But when you start curating your environment with intention, you send a message. My energy is valuable. My space is sacred. My circle is chosen, not accidental. You're allowed to upgrade your standards. What you accepted 5 years ago may no longer fit who you are today. That's growth. And growth requires you to reassign seats. Some people need to move to the balcony. Some need to leave the theater altogether. People show their true colors when they lose access. If someone gets angry because you created healthy space, that's not love, that's control. Genuine friends will celebrate your boundaries, not punish you for them. Let your front row reflect your future, not just your past. You are not a bad person for protecting your peace. You're not cold, you're not harsh, you're wise. You've learned that energy is a limited resource, and where it goes determines how fast you grow. Protecting it is your responsibility. No one else will do it for you. There are people who only support you when you stay small. They cheer when you're quiet, insecure, and dependent. But the moment you grow, they shift. That's a sign. If someone gets uncomfortable with your progress, they were never for you, only for your weakness. You don't owe access to everyone who asks for it. Be kind, but be clear. You can't pour into your purpose if you're constantly managing emotional chaos. It's okay to step back. It's okay to redefine relationships. Your peace is not up for compromise. A front row seat in your life should be earned, not handed out. Earned through loyalty, through support, through alignment. Just because someone wants to be close doesn't mean they're qualified to be. Check the fruit. Are they helping or hurting your growth? Sometimes love means loving people from a distance. Not everyone needs your daily attention. Some just need your quiet prayers and gentle release. Holding on too tightly to the wrong energy delays the arrival of the right ones. Make room. You teach people how to value you by what you tolerate. If you allow chaos, gossip, or disrespect in your closest circle, it will reflect in your life. But when you clean your front row, when you raise your standard, your peace returns, your power returns. So take a look around. Who's in your front row? Who's clapping but secretly hoping you fall? Who shows up only when it's convenient? It's okay to rearrange the seats. You're not being harsh, you're being honest, because your life deserves people who honor the view. Chapter 4. How to recognize emotional vampires. Emotional vampires don't always look toxic. They might smile. They might even seem kind. But every time you leave their presence, you feel tired, smaller, unsure of yourself. That's the first sign. You walk away drained instead of uplifted. Pay attention to that feeling. They thrive on attention, but never offer any in return. When you're around them, the conversation always shifts back to them. Their problems, their wins, their needs. Your voice gets quieter. Your needs get dismissed. That imbalance is a red flag. An emotional vampire makes everything about them, even your pain. You share a struggle, and they interrupt to share how theirs was worse. You express joy, and they find a way to steal the spotlight. With them, it's never mutual. It's always competitive. They subtly guilt-trip you for having boundaries. If you say no, they act hurt. If you take space, they question your loyalty. Emotional vampires don't respect limits. They test them, and the more you bend, the more they take. One of the clearest signs is how you feel after the interaction. Do you feel heavy, anxious, or second-guessing yourself? That's not connection. That's consumption. They didn't just talk to you. They pulled from you, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. They never apologize, only explain. When you call out hurtful behavior, they make excuses, deflect blame, or play the victim. Accountability feels foreign to them. They rewrite history to protect their ego and avoid reflection. They show up when they need something, not when you do. You'll notice the pattern: crisis calls, favors, venting sessions. But when you need support, they're unavailable. True relationships are reciprocal. Emotional vampires are one-way streets. They create drama where there was peace. Suddenly, there's tension, gossip, or emotional chaos. It feels like walking on eggshells. You start to censor yourself just to avoid triggering another meltdown. That's not love. That's emotional manipulation. They use kindness as a hook. At first, they might seem deeply caring, but over time, you notice a pattern. Their care comes with strings. You feel obligated, indebted, or controlled. Real love is freeing. Emotional vampires use love to trap. They feed on insecurity. The more uncertain you are, the more control they have. That's why they subtly criticize, make jokes at your expense, or compare you to others. They don't want you confident. They want you dependent. They rarely celebrate you. If something good happens, they shift the focus. They might downplay your win, bring up their own struggle, or remind you how you could have done more. True friends uplift. Emotional vampires compete in silence. They demand constant emotional labor. You become their therapist, their cheerleader, their punching bag. But when you need encouragement, silence. Your emotional bandwidth is consumed by managing their storms, while yours are ignored. They weaponize your empathy. The more you care, the more they pull. The more you try to help, the more they resist change. You end up exhausted, not because you failed, but because you were being drained, not supported. They make you feel guilty for growing. When you evolve, set boundaries, or speak up, they act betrayed. Why? Because your strength threatens their control. Emotional vampires prefer you uncertain, quiet, and easy to influence. You start justifying their behavior to others. You say things like, "They're just going through a lot," or "That's just how they are." You become their emotional spokesperson. But deep down, you know the dynamic is draining, not healthy. They isolate you emotionally. Over time, you find yourself pulling away from others, hiding your struggles, or avoiding conversations. Why? Because you're trained to believe only they get you. That's not connection. That's control disguised as intimacy. They dismiss your growth. When you start healing, setting goals, or thinking independently, they make sarcastic comments or downplay your progress. Emotional vampires fear your evolution because it threatens their grip. You feel emotionally responsible for their moods. If they're upset, you feel like you did something wrong. If they're distant, you chase. This isn't love. It's emotional dependency disguised as closeness. They can't handle your boundaries. The moment you say no, they sulk, lash out, or withdraw affection. Emotional vampires don't love you. They love what you do for them. And the second you stop serving them, their true colors show. They make you question your reality. You start second-guessing what you said, what you felt, what you saw. This is gaslighting, a manipulation tactic that erodes your trust in yourself. If someone consistently twists facts to avoid accountability, run. They never pour back into you. You're always giving, always adjusting, always managing their emotional temperature. But when you need to be seen, you get nothing. That imbalance isn't a flaw. It's the entire design of the relationship. To recognize an emotional vampire is the first step, but the next step is reclaiming your energy. You are not a source for others to feed on. You are a soul that deserves mutual love, balanced energy, and relationships that restore, not reduce, you. Chapter 5. Boundaries are protection, not punishment. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that show people how to enter. They're not cold or cruel. They are instructions for healthy connection. They teach others where respect begins and where disrespect ends. When you set a boundary, you're not pushing someone away. You're pulling yourself closer to peace. You're saying, "This is what I need to stay healthy." And there is nothing selfish about self-preservation. People who love you will adjust to your boundaries. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will call you difficult. That's not your problem to fix. That's their discomfort with your growth. You don't set boundaries to hurt others. You set them to protect your energy, your values, and your emotional safety. Boundaries are not acts of war. They are acts of wisdom. And the wise protect their peace before it breaks. Every no you say to others is a deeper yes to yourself. When you stop overextending, over-explaining, and over-pleasing, you begin to breathe again. Boundaries aren't punishment, they are oxygen for your soul. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you allow disrespect, it becomes normal. But when you draw a clear line, you reset the dynamic. It might upset some, but it will clarify everything. Boundaries filter out manipulation. When someone tests your limits and you hold firm, they reveal their true intent. Some walk away, and that's the gift. Your peace doesn't need to be surrounded by confusion. It's not your job to make everyone comfortable. It's your job to protect your inner world. And if someone sees your boundaries as betrayal, they were never in your life for the right reasons anyway. Boundaries don't mean cutting everyone off. They mean knowing when to say enough, when to say not today, and when to say this doesn't work for me. It's not a shutdown. It's a shift toward self-respect. You don't have to explain your boundaries to everyone. A simple no is enough. You are not a court defending a case. You are a person protecting your emotional space. Be firm, be kind, be done. Some people will test your boundaries not because they don't understand, but because they don't like that you've changed. That's a test of your strength. Don't go back to shrinking just to keep the peace that cost you your dignity. You deserve relationships where you don't have to beg for respect, where your no is heard without offense, where space isn't taken personally. That kind of peace starts when you protect your boundaries like they matter, because they do. Guilt is not a sign your boundary is wrong. It's a sign you're breaking an old pattern of self-neglect. Sit with the discomfort. Let it pass. Because on the other side is your freedom. Boundaries don't close your heart. They strengthen it. They allow you to give from a full place instead of a fractured one. You stop performing. You start living. That's what real connection looks like. Don't wait for someone to cross a line before you draw it. Be proactive with your peace. Build systems that protect your time, your values, your energy, not just when it's urgent, but every day. If someone leaves because you set a boundary, they never truly respected you. Let them go. Because what stays, what remains when you protect your worth, is the connection that's built on truth. People won't always like your boundaries, but they will learn to respect them, or they'll remove themselves. Either way, you win. You're no longer bending just to belong. You're standing tall in your truth. The stronger your boundaries become, the clearer your life becomes. Toxic people exit. Chaos decreases. Peace expands. Because you've stopped making space for what no longer aligns with your growth. Boundaries are not about control. They're about clarity. They let others know what's okay and what's not. And clarity creates safety for you and for those who are meant to be in your life. Your boundaries aren't up for debate. They're not open to negotiation every time someone gets uncomfortable. You don't need permission to protect yourself. You just need courage to follow through. You can be kind and still have firm boundaries. You can be loving and still say no. Compassion doesn't require sacrifice, and peace doesn't require pleasing everyone. You can hold love and limits at the same time. Boundaries are not punishments. They are instructions. They are not rejection. They are protection. And when you protect your energy, your time, and your soul, you don't just survive, you finally begin to thrive. Chapter 6. Your peace is more important than their opinion. You weren't born to impress everyone, you were born to protect your peace. Opinions will come and go, but your inner calm is something you must guard. Don't trade it just to be liked. Being liked isn't worth being lost. Some people will never understand your path, and they don't have to. You're not living for their comfort. You're living for your own clarity. When you stop explaining yourself, you start expanding yourself. The moment you stop chasing approval is the moment peace begins. Validation from others feels good, but it's temporary. True peace comes from knowing you're aligned with your truth, even when it's unpopular. Everyone has something to say, but not everyone deserves your energy. You don't need to fight every opinion. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. Let silence protect your power. Opinions are not facts. They're reflections of someone else's fears, expectations, or projections. Let them have their thoughts. You focus on your direction. You don't owe your peace to someone else's perception. When you prioritize peace, you become selective with your responses. Not every comment needs your energy. Not every judgment deserves a reaction. That restraint becomes your emotional armor. You're allowed to walk away from conversations that steal your calm. You're allowed to protect your space from noise, gossip, or criticism. Your peace is not a luxury. It's a necessity for your growth. The loudest voices often come from the most unhealed places. If you let them shape your decisions, you'll always be off-center. Tune them out. Your life isn't a group discussion. It's your personal journey. Sometimes peace looks like not responding. Sometimes it looks like leaving the room, changing the subject, or simply moving on. Your silence doesn't mean they're right. It means your peace matters more. You'll never be at peace if you're addicted to being understood. Some people don't want to get you. They want to keep you in a box they can control. Break free. You weren't made for cages of opinion. Don't adjust your energy to fit into places you've outgrown. If you find peace in solitude, honor it. If you find clarity in silence, choose it. Don't let noisy minds drown your inner voice. When you let go of the need to please, you find room to breathe. You stop explaining every move. You stop editing your truth. And in that freedom, you become unstoppable. Not everyone will like the new you, the healed you, the growing you, the peaceful you. And that's okay. You're not losing them. You're finding yourself. Peace has a price, but it's always worth paying. Criticism is easy from the sidelines. Most people speaking on your life aren't living with your responsibility. They see your results, not your process. Don't let their opinions slow your progress. You can live your whole life trying to win approval and still feel empty, or you can choose to listen to your heart and finally feel whole. Peace doesn't come from applause. It comes from alignment. Your peace is the foundation of your power. Without it, every step is shaky. With it, you become anchored. Choose it every time, even if it costs connection, comfort, or temporary praise. When people see you at peace, they might call you distant. Let them. You're not distant. You're disciplined. You're not cold. You're clear. Let them mislabel you. You stay rooted in your calm. Every time you defend your peace, you teach others how to treat you. You're not responsible for their reactions, only your own. Choose responses that preserve your energy, not drain it. Let them misunderstand you. Let them judge you. Let them talk. If your peace is intact, you've already won. You're not living for their approval. You're living for your purpose. Peace doesn't beg. It doesn't argue. It doesn't chase. It stands still. It knows its value. And once you taste that kind of peace, you'll never trade it for shallow acceptance again. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your space, or your time, especially if they cost you your balance. Guard your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. At the end of the day, you sleep with your own thoughts. You live with your own energy. Make sure it's calm. Make sure it's yours, because your peace is not optional. It's your responsibility. The need to explain yourself is often a trap. When you try to convince everyone of your worth, you hand over your peace. Let your actions speak. Let your growth prove your path. The ones who get it don't need a speech, and the ones who don't aren't worth the effort. You weren't made to be understood by everyone. You were made to understand yourself. There's peace in letting go of the pressure to fit into every conversation, every expectation, every circle. Your peace grows when your approval-seeking shrinks. Don't let someone's loud voice drown out your inner wisdom. They might sound confident, they might sound convincing, but your soul knows the truth. Listen inward. When your intuition whispers, trust it, even if others shout over it. Peace is built by protecting your focus. You can't chase clarity and controversy at the same time. Pick one. Your peace requires choosing what you consume, what you entertain, and what you respond to. Choose stillness over spectacle. People who don't know your journey will always have something to say. Let them. Their words don't walk in your shoes. Their opinion can't pay your emotional cost. Your responsibility is to protect your mind, not manage their misunderstandings. Sometimes peace looks like choosing boredom over burnout. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always feel productive. But in that quiet space, your nervous system heals, your thoughts organize, and you come back stronger, not scattered. When you center peace, you start to lose tolerance for certain environments. Chaos, gossip, drama. It all starts to feel heavy. That's not you being antisocial. That's your soul choosing elevation over exhaustion. You'll notice your peace growing when you no longer need to argue. You stop needing the last word. You stop needing to be right. Because you realize peace is more powerful than winning an argument that doesn't feed your spirit. Let people form opinions. Let them guess, assume, judge. Your peace doesn't live in their minds. It lives in your daily decisions. You get to decide if you'll engage or walk away. That choice builds emotional maturity. Inner peace isn't found in controlling everything. It's found in controlling your response to everything. Life will stay loud. People will stay opinionated. But your silence, your breath, your stillness, those are your superpowers. You owe no one access to your emotional weather. You don't have to announce every boundary. You don't have to defend every distance. Just protect your peace and let your choices speak the message for you. Some will confuse your peace with arrogance. That's fine. Their reaction is not your responsibility. You don't owe anxiety just to make others comfortable. If peace costs popularity, let it. Peace is priceless. Peace is built in quiet decisions, saying no without guilt, leaving without drama, choosing not to respond. These aren't loud moves, but they build a life where your soul can finally rest. And that's the kind of life that lasts. You grow fast when you stop chasing noise, when you stop checking who's watching, who's clapping, who's criticizing. You start moving from purpose, not pressure, and that shift changes everything. You're not cold, you're clear, you're not distant, you're discerning. When you stop justifying your boundaries and start living by them, peace becomes your baseline, not a reward, but a standard. Let your peace speak louder than your defense. Let your distance speak louder than your debate. You don't owe explanations for evolving. You don't owe apologies for healing. Your peace is your permission. When your peace becomes non-negotiable, your standards rise. You stop settling. You stop tolerating people who drain you. And you start building a life that reflects how deeply you value your own well-being. Don't shrink yourself to avoid judgment. Don't mute your joy to keep the peace externally while destroying it internally. Real peace includes truth. Real peace doesn't cost your authenticity. If they misunderstand your boundaries, let them. If they misread your quiet, let them. You don't need everyone to get it. You just need to stay aligned. Peace comes when your choices match your values, not when your choices please the crowd. Peace feels like being able to sit alone and not feel lonely. It feels like declining a conversation and not feeling guilty. It feels like making a decision without needing permission. That's emotional freedom, and it's worth everything. Build a life that doesn't require you to escape it. A life where your schedule, your space, your people all support your calm. That kind of life doesn't just happen. It's created, protected, and chosen on purpose. And finally, remember this: your peace is your compass. If something disrupts it, question it. If someone costs it, distance it. Protect it like your dreams depend on it, because they do. And the more peace you hold, the more power you carry. Chapter 7. Detach from drama before it drains you. Drama doesn't just waste time, it steals your peace. It pulls you into emotional chaos that has nothing to do with your growth. You don't need to argue, defend, or explain every detail of your life. Detaching doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. You protect your energy by refusing to participate in unnecessary storms. Not every situation deserves your involvement. Sometimes silence is the smartest response. You don't need to prove your side to people who enjoy conflict. They're not looking for truth. They're looking for attention. And when you stop feeding that cycle, you take back your power. People addicted to drama live on emotional highs and lows. They create problems where none exist. But you weren't built for that. You were built for peace, clarity, and progress. Detachment means refusing to live in a constant state of tension. It means choosing your sanity over someone else's chaos. The more you engage with drama, the more you lose yourself. You become reactive, defensive, drained. But when you detach, you step back and breathe. You choose clarity over confusion. You give yourself the space to decide, is this even worth my energy? Drama thrives on reaction. It feeds off your frustration. But the moment you stop reacting, the fire dies out. Emotional maturity is walking away from things that no longer serve your peace. You don't need to fight to prove your strength. Sometimes your silence is proof enough. Let people misunderstand you. Let them judge you. That's their story, not yours. You don't have to carry the weight of everyone's opinions. Your peace is worth more than proving a point. Detachment allows you to walk away from what doesn't align with your direction. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. No text back, no explanation, just space. Because not every invitation to drama deserves an RSVP. Choose stillness, choose emotional distance. Let the noise fade without dragging you into the chaos. You don't need to be in every conversation. You don't need to fix every misunderstanding. That desire to always be involved can become a trap. True power is in restraint. It's in knowing when to engage and when to let it go. Detach with love. You don't have to hate someone to leave their drama behind. You can wish them well and still walk away. You can care without getting caught. Boundaries don't mean disconnection. They mean self-respect. Your energy is sacred. The people you give it to should add peace, not confusion. If someone constantly brings conflict, step back. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow? If not, it's time to let go, without guilt. Drama keeps your mind busy and your heart tired. It robs you of your creativity, your joy, and your focus. Detaching is not weakness, it's maintenance. It's choosing to invest your energy into peace instead of pain. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you keep responding to drama, you're telling the world you're available for dysfunction. But if you protect your peace with silence, the world learns to meet you differently. Let others live in chaos if they choose, but don't join them. You're not required to match their energy. Your calm is your power, and the more you protect it, the stronger you become. Some people only know how to connect through conflict. Don't let them pull you in. You're not responsible for their healing. You're responsible for your peace. Walk away, breathe, stay grounded. When you stop chasing drama, you make space for clarity. Your energy starts to return. Your mind becomes sharper. Your soul feels lighter. That's the power of detachment. It gives you your life back. You don't have to respond to every message. You don't have to react to every slight. Sometimes, ignoring it is the most emotionally intelligent choice. You don't need to clap back. You need to level up. The world doesn't need more people arguing. It needs more people rising, and rising requires silence, separation, and strength. Leave the drama behind. Let your peace be your message. You'll never regret walking away from chaos. You'll never regret choosing stillness over stress. But you will regret wasting time trying to fix what was never your job to fix. Protect your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Drama isn't just loud, it's exhausting, and exhaustion dims your power. But when you detach, you restore yourself. You return to who you are, and who you are is not here to argue. You're here to evolve. Detaching isn't cold, it's clear. It's saying, I love my peace more than I love being right. It's choosing growth over gossip, strength over storylines. Your future doesn't have room for distractions dressed as urgency. You don't have to change people. You just have to stop letting them change you. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Your peace doesn't need approval. It just needs protection. So walk away, turn the page. Not because you're done caring, but because you've started caring about the right things. And your peace? That's one of them. Drama always disguises itself as urgency. It screams for attention, forces quick reactions, and demands your emotional space. But your growth lives in the pause. Detaching gives you that pause. It lets you slow down, think clearly, and move with intention instead of impulse. Peace doesn't rush. It waits for wisdom. There's power in not being accessible all the time. Not every call needs answering. Not every notification needs checking. When you unplug from the noise, you return to your own frequency. Drama wants you reactive. Peace needs you intentional. Learn to choose quiet over chaos, focus over friction. The people who thrive in drama often fear stillness. Silence forces them to face themselves. That's why they stir conflict, to avoid their own reflection. But you don't need to join their cycle. When you detach, you break generational patterns. You stop reacting and you start healing. Every time you respond to drama, you pay with your peace, and over time, that cost adds up. Your joy, focus, and emotional stability get drained. It's not just a bad habit, it's self-neglect. Choose detachment the way you choose health. Make peace a non-negotiable. Your energy is meant to build, not burn. When you invest it in petty arguments or emotional traps, you lose momentum. Detachment isn't avoidance, it's strategy. It's knowing where your presence creates progress and where it only fuels problems. You don't have to fight battles that don't belong to you. Some conflicts are invitations to self-destruction disguised as responsibility. Just because someone drags you into their mess doesn't mean you're meant to clean it up. You're allowed to say, "This is not mine to carry." People will say you've changed when you stop playing into their drama. Let them. They're right. You did change. You grew. You evolved. You realized that peace is worth more than approval. You stopped entertaining what drains you. That's not selfish. That's survival. Drama doesn't knock. It sneaks in through cracks in your boundaries. When you don't set clear limits, chaos finds its way in. It's not about being mean. It's about being firm. Protecting your peace starts with protecting your time, space, and focus. Emotionally intelligent people don't chase arguments. They don't beg to be understood. They understand that drama is noise that blocks the signal. When you rise above it, your vision clears. You see the difference between what's urgent and what's important. Every time you detach from drama, you teach your nervous system safety. You show your mind that peace is possible, that not every conversation ends in conflict. Over time, you start to crave calm. And what once felt normal, the chaos, the conflict, starts to feel toxic. You can love people and still not engage in their drama. You can care deeply and still create space. Love doesn't mean self-sacrifice. It means choosing connection that uplifts, not drains. And sometimes, real love is saying, I can't do this with you anymore. People addicted to conflict will accuse you of being cold when you stop responding. That's okay. Let them talk. Let them spin stories. While they're creating drama, you're creating peace. Your silence is not weakness. It's a declaration. I'm done with the noise. The more you grow, the less tolerance you'll have for emotional chaos. What used to excite or involve you will start to exhaust you. That's how you know you're evolving, when peace becomes your standard and not your escape. When you choose to detach, you're not giving up, you're rising above. You're saying, I won't sacrifice my peace just to participate. You're no longer available for chaos. You're now committed to alignment. You're building something sacred, and drama has no seat at that table. You don't owe anyone access to your inner world, especially not those who manipulate, confuse, or drain you. Your energy is a privilege, not a free pass. If someone treats you like an option, treat their drama like background noise, something to tune out completely. Every time you let go of drama, you make room for purpose. You start attracting people and situations that match your peace. Detachment clears the space that distractions once filled, and in that space, your real life begins to bloom. People who respect your peace will never put you in positions to lose it. Pay attention to how you feel after certain conversations. Peace is a signal. Drama is a warning. Let how you feel guide who you keep. There is no success without peace. No clarity, no focus, no drive. Drama doesn't just distract. It delays destiny. If you want to become your best self, protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because your future does. Sometimes the only way to heal is to walk away. Not because you're bitter, but because you're ready to breathe. Drama creates emotional suffocation. Detachment is your oxygen. Breathe deep. Let it go. You can't control other people's chaos, but you can control how close you stand to it. You're not a dumping ground for their emotions. You're a sanctuary. Protect that space. If people don't respect your peace, they don't belong in your presence. Peace isn't found in control. It's found in release. Let go of the urge to fix everything, to explain yourself, to win every argument. The more you let go, the more power you gain. Drama loses its grip the moment you stop grabbing back. Detachment is self-trust. It's knowing that you can let go without losing yourself. That your value isn't tied to chaos, conflict, or constant connection. You are whole without the drama. You are powerful in your peace, and that is enough. Chapter 8. If they cost you peace, they're too expensive. Peace is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. If someone's presence constantly brings you stress, confusion, or exhaustion, the price is too high. You can't afford to carry people who make your soul feel heavy. Your mental clarity, emotional stability, and inner strength depend on who you let close. It's not about being heartless. It's about being wise. You only have so much time, so much energy, so much patience. If someone keeps disturbing your peace, they're not a blessing. They're a burden in disguise. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to stop bleeding. People who cost you peace often come disguised as loyal, close, or familiar. But titles mean nothing when the effect is toxic. Pay attention to how you feel when they're around. If it's always draining, always heavy, that's your truth trying to speak. You can't build a peaceful life around people who thrive in chaos. Their normal will become your stress. Their problems will become your weight. If you don't create distance, their dysfunction becomes your environment. And your future deserves better than that. There's a difference between supporting someone and carrying them. If the relationship constantly feels one-sided, if you're always fixing, calming, or explaining, it's not connection, it's control. You weren't created to be someone's emotional crutch forever. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is walk away from someone you love, but peace requires hard decisions. You're not abandoning them, you're choosing you. And when you start choosing peace over guilt, everything starts to shift. You can't keep people in your life just because they've been there for a long time. Time doesn't justify turmoil. Loyalty doesn't excuse chaos. Peace should grow with time, not disappear because of it. History without harmony isn't worth holding on to. When someone constantly creates stress, they don't value your peace. And if they don't value your peace, they don't value you. True love respects boundaries. Real connection builds calm. Anything else is manipulation wearing the mask of closeness. Stop giving discounts to people who bankrupt your energy. You're not required to be available for every crisis. You're not responsible for fixing people who refuse to grow, if their presence costs you clarity, confidence, or calm. It's time to step back. You don't have to announce your exit. You can leave quietly, no explanations, no warnings, just peace. Sometimes the best way to protect your soul is to outgrow in silence, not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. There are people who drain you slowly, conversation by conversation, crisis by crisis. It's subtle, but consistent, and if you don't guard your peace, you'll find yourself emotionally bankrupt. That's why boundaries matter. They protect what's sacred. Don't let guilt trick you into keeping people who hurt you. You can forgive someone and still remove them. Peace isn't about holding on to everyone, it's about holding on to yourself. Letting go is hard, but losing yourself is harder. You deserve people who bring peace, not problems. People who make you feel safe, not suspicious. If someone always leaves you feeling worse, that's not love, it's emotional theft. And your peace is too rare to be stolen. There's nothing noble about suffering silently for the sake of connection. Real strength is walking away from what drains you, even when your heart wants to stay. Because long-term peace is worth more than short-term comfort. Sometimes we stay in chaos because we fear being alone. But what's lonelier than being surrounded by people who make you feel empty? Peace in solitude is better than noise in company. Learn to love your own calm. You can't grow in gardens where you're constantly being trampled. If someone doesn't water your peace, they don't deserve your presence. Stop justifying pain. Stop normalizing stress. You deserve peace without explanation. You're not hard to love, you're just tired of being drained. The right people won't cost your mental health. They'll understand your silence, respect your space, and protect your peace like it's their own. If you have to shrink yourself to avoid arguments, that's not peace, that's pressure. If you have to walk on eggshells around someone, you're already living in stress. Don't confuse silence with safety. True peace never feels tight. Some people only come around when they need something, and every time they leave, they take a piece of you with them. If you keep giving to those who only show up in crisis, you'll have nothing left for yourself. Protecting your peace isn't mean. It's mature. It's saying, I've suffered enough. It's choosing to rest instead of reacting, to release instead of repeating. The real glow-up is peace, not applause. Let go of people who love you conditionally, who only stick around when it's convenient. You need people who pour peace into your life, not pressure, who fill your cup, not empty it. That's how you build a life that lasts. And finally, if they cost you peace, they're too expensive. Let that be your measure. Not time, not history, not guilt. Peace is the currency of a healed life, and anything or anyone that threatens it is simply not worth the price. There comes a point where you must ask yourself, What am I really gaining from this connection? If the answer is anxiety, confusion, or exhaustion, it's already too expensive. Peace doesn't ask you to question your worth. Peace confirms it. Some people bring storms everywhere they go, and you're not a shelter for their chaos. You're not a fixer for their damage. You're allowed to say, "This environment isn't healthy for me." Protecting your peace means knowing when to walk away and mean it. You don't owe endless patience to people who keep choosing pain over progress. You can support someone from a distance. You can love them from afar. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let them face themselves without dragging you down too. Stop measuring relationships by how long they've lasted. Start measuring them by how peaceful they feel. 10 years of stress isn't loyalty, it's emotional debt. You don't keep connections that cost your balance just to say you didn't give up. When you choose peace, you start realizing how much noise you were tolerating. The arguments, the passive-aggressive remarks, the unspoken tension. It was never normal. You were just surviving. Peace helps you remember what it feels like to breathe again. You don't need a reason to protect your peace. You don't need proof that someone is toxic. If your spirit feels uneasy, that's enough. Trust your nervous system. It knows what your mind tries to rationalize away. Some people will only love the version of you that's easy to manipulate, the version that overgives, over-apologizes, and over-explains. When you start protecting your peace, they'll call it selfish. But it's not selfish. It's sacred. You weren't made to be a container for other people's chaos. You weren't created to constantly carry emotional weight that isn't yours. Peace means learning what's yours to hold and what needs to be put down permanently. You can forgive someone and still leave the room. You can release bitterness and still block access. Forgiveness is freedom, not an invitation to re-enter a cycle of stress. Your peace must come before reconciliation. Real love doesn't cost peace. It creates it. It makes space for rest, safety, and truth. If you feel constantly on edge, that's not love. That's survival mode. And you weren't born to survive your relationships. You were born to thrive inside them. Your peace is your compass. It tells you where to stay and when to go. If you've been fighting your own instincts just to maintain a relationship, it's time to listen. Peace doesn't lie. Your body always knows what your heart hesitates to admit. People who drain you won't stop unless you stop them. Their comfort depends on your silence. Their peace depends on your suffering. The moment you prioritize your own calm, you expose the imbalance. And that's when true decisions begin. Your growth will threaten those who benefit from your struggle. As you heal, as you rise, the people who kept you small will feel unsettled. Let them. You're not here to stay palatable for people who never respected your peace to begin with. Letting go doesn't mean you're bitter. It means you're better. Better at choosing yourself. Better at protecting your peace. Better at recognizing when the cost outweighs the connection. That's emotional evolution. Boundaries are the price of peace. You can't keep saying yes to everyone and expect to stay sane. If they can't handle your no, they never truly respected your yes. And if your boundary offends them, let it. Your peace is not up for compromise. You won't find peace in places that demand you abandon yourself. Every time you shrink, silence your voice, or fake a smile to keep someone else comfortable, you trade peace for performance. And that's too expensive a price for any relationship. There is no amount of love, loyalty, or history that justifies the loss of peace. You are allowed to choose peace over tradition. You're allowed to walk away from shared pasts that no longer align with your healed present. Stop apologizing for putting your peace first. It doesn't make you rude. It makes you responsible. You're not selfish for leaving unhealthy spaces. You're self-aware. That awareness will save your future. Peace doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't demand explanations. It simply chooses itself. And when you start doing the same, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who value your soul, not just your service. It's not your job to keep everyone comfortable at the expense of your calm. If being the peacemaker costs you your peace, it's time to step back. You don't have to hold everything together. Let some things fall, and watch how light you become. The people who love you will never ask you to sacrifice your mental health for their convenience. They will honor your peace, celebrate your growth, and adjust to your boundaries. Anyone else is simply not meant to stay. And when in doubt, remember this: peace is the clearest proof that you're on the right path. If something or someone consistently disrupts that, it's time to let go, because nothing is worth losing yourself over. Nothing. Chapter 9. Learn to walk away without explaining. You don't owe anyone a full story about why you're choosing peace. Sometimes walking away is the loudest form of self-respect. When your soul is tired, when the weight gets heavy, you don't need permission, you just need the courage to move. Explaining yourself over and over becomes emotional labor, and often the people demanding answers never really listen. They want control, not clarity. So when it's time to go, go, with dignity, with silence, with your peace intact. You're not wrong for choosing distance. You're not heartless for protecting your energy. People will paint you as cold, but what they really mean is they can no longer access you. Let that be their problem, not yours. Not everyone will understand your healing. That's okay. It's not their path. It's yours. Stop shrinking just to make your exit more comfortable for them. You're allowed to grow beyond the space that raised you. Sometimes walking away is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. It doesn't make you a villain. It doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've woken up to the reality that peace costs less than constant explanation. People who value your presence won't force you to constantly explain your worth. They'll feel it, they'll honor it, and if they don't, that's your sign. Your worth isn't a debate, it's a boundary. Explanations often become arguments, and arguments turn into guilt trips. Detach from that cycle. Walk away without performing. You don't owe a closing speech when the chapter is already done. You are not a prisoner to people's confusion. Let them be confused. Let them talk. You're not required to fix their version of the story. Protect your energy by leaving the conversation before it turns into a courtroom. Growth will cost relationships that were built on your silence. When you stop over-explaining, you start reclaiming your voice. And that voice doesn't need approval to speak truth, it just needs space. Walking away without explaining is a skill. It takes strength to resist defending your peace. It takes clarity to say, "This is no longer for me," and then honor that truth without guilt. Sometimes they don't deserve an explanation because they never gave you the respect to begin with. They dismissed your boundaries, ignored your needs, and now want closure. Number. Your healing doesn't owe them anything. Explanations often become a trap. You try to be kind, and they use it to pull you back. Learn this. Your exit doesn't require their agreement. It only requires your decision. Your intuition doesn't need to be translated. If your spirit says, "Leave," listen. Even if no one else understands, especially if they don't. You're not here to prove pain or justify peace. You're here to protect both. People will call you selfish when they can't use you. That's not your burden to carry. Walk away with grace, not guilt. Your peace is not negotiable, and your healing is not up for debate. You're not walking away to hurt anyone. You're walking away to save yourself. Don't let guilt make you stay where growth has already stopped. Your future doesn't live in their comfort zone. You don't need to burn bridges or cause scenes. Just stop showing up. Stop explaining. Let your absence do the speaking. Let your silence draw the line. Peace often looks like quiet exits. Some won't notice your pain until your silence replaces your presence. Let them learn that lesson on their own. You're not here to teach people how to value you. You're here to value yourself. Every time you over-explain, you water down your truth. Your no becomes negotiable. Your boundaries blur. Learn to say less. Learn to walk faster. Peace doesn't explain. It just exits. You're not cold. You're clear. You're not heartless. You're healed. Don't confuse explaining with empathy. Sometimes the most empathetic thing you can do is walk away and wish them well from a distance. Not every door needs a goodbye. Not every departure needs closure. You owe it to your future self to leave some things unanswered. Peace comes when you stop needing everyone to understand your path. Walking away doesn't make you weak. Staying in what breaks you does. It takes more courage to release than to remain. When it's time to go, go with strength. Go without apology. Go without explanation. And finally remember, the loudest thing you'll ever say is your silence. The boldest move you'll ever make is to walk away without needing them to agree. Choose peace. Walk away. No speech needed. You don't need to convince people why peace matters to you. The ones who truly care will feel your need for space without taking it personally. And the ones who guilt-trip you, they were never invested in your peace, only their access to it. Walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you finally learned that staying for the sake of appearances only keeps you stuck in pain. You're not here to perform wellness. You're here to live it. You can't grow in places that require you to explain your worth. Real connections don't make you question your value, they honor it. So if you constantly feel misunderstood or misjudged, that's your cue. Not your cue to defend, but your cue to detach. Let people sit with their version of the story. Let them believe what they want. That's not your business. You're not here to manage their imagination. You're here to manage your energy and protect your future. Every time you explain your boundary to someone who keeps crossing it, you weaken it. Boundaries aren't open for negotiation. If they don't get it by now, they don't want to. Let your exit speak for you. The freedom you gain from walking away is worth more than the comfort of staying stuck. You'll feel it in your chest, the pressure lifting, the calm returning. That's your body thanking you for finally choosing yourself. There's no medal for suffering in silence while trying to keep people comfortable. Your peace should never be the price of someone else's convenience. Walk away, quietly, confidently, without a script. Some people only listen when your presence goes missing. They ignored your words, dismissed your emotions, laughed at your silence. But when you leave, truly leave, it teaches more than 1,000 explanations ever could. You don't have to slam the door. You don't have to burn the bridge. Just lock it. Close it gently and keep walking. What matters is that you left the space that kept you in survival mode. Sometimes the greatest respect you can show yourself is to walk away without looking back, without defending, without seeking closure. The closure is in the decision, and the peace is in the distance. You were never meant to carry the weight of everyone's misunderstanding. People will twist your silence into selfishness. Let them. Their noise is not your truth. Their reaction is not your responsibility. Explaining yourself drains you. It keeps you tangled in emotions that no longer serve your future. If you're tired of repeating yourself, take it as a sign. It's time to act, not explain. Time to move, not argue. There are people who will only value you when you're no longer accessible. Don't wait until you're emotionally empty to realize your worth. You don't need a breakdown to justify your departure. Prevention is peace. There is strength in the unspoken goodbye. It says, I love myself more than this pattern. It says, I choose healing over history. The people who get it won't need an explanation. And those who don't never truly valued the real you. You'll notice that peace doesn't beg, it doesn't plead, it simply walks away. It removes itself, not out of pride, but out of purpose. That's where your power lives, in the quiet decisions that rebuild your strength. Sometimes the best response is no response. not because you're ignoring the situation, but because you've outgrown the need to prove your side. Your silence doesn't mean weakness, it means mastery. When you stop explaining your every move, your confidence grows. You realize that you don't need validation to make the right decision. Your healing doesn't need applause, it just needs consistency. There is peace in walking away with nothing but your self-respect. No bitterness, no drama. Just the quiet truth that you deserve more than confusion, chaos, and constant justification. People will question your silence, but don't let that pull you back in. You left because you had to, not because you wanted drama. Your energy no longer fits their story, and that's okay. Your peace has a new home. You don't need people to agree with your boundaries to honor them. You don't need applause for choosing yourself. The reward isn't in being understood, it's in finally feeling free. Keep walking, keep growing. The path ahead might feel lonely at first, but your peace will meet you there. And the longer you walk away from what hurt you, the closer you get to what heals you. And remember, some doors must be closed without a sound, no dramatic exit, no final word, just a quiet walk towards something better. You don't owe anyone your explanation, you owe yourself your freedom. Chapter 10. Choose silence over chaos. In a world addicted to noise, silence is power. It's where you hear yourself think. It's where you see the truth clearly, without the distortion of other people's drama. Choosing silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you've grown past the need to prove, defend, or argue. Chaos begs for your reaction. It feeds on your attention. But silence is resistance. It refuses to fuel what isn't worthy of your energy. The moment you stop responding, you take back control. You become untouchable by distractions that once pulled you in. People will mistake your silence for surrender. Let them. It's not your job to explain the strength it takes to stay calm in the storm. The louder the world gets, the more powerful your stillness becomes. Chaos is loud because it's unstable. Silence is strong because it's grounded. Not every insult deserves a comeback. Not every conflict needs your opinion. When you choose silence, you're not ignoring. You're elevating. You're moving from reaction to reflection, from noise to clarity, from chaos to peace. Silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about your peace more. It means you've learned that arguing with chaos only multiplies it. Some battles are won by walking away, not by clashing swords. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Some people throw chaos your way just to see if you'll drop your peace. But you've grown now. You know the value of a quiet heart in a noisy room. The power of silence is that it speaks for you. It says, "I'm not here for this." It draws boundaries without shouting. It builds strength without showing off. Silence isn't passive. It's a decision, a disciplined, intentional, strategic choice. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, peace enters. Silence ends the loop of stress. It removes you from the emotional playground of those who thrive on conflict. People who crave chaos will find your silence uncomfortable. That's not your concern. You weren't made to entertain dysfunction. You were made to protect your peace. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. Every time you pause instead of react, you grow. Every time you listen instead of lash out, you rise. Silence allows you to observe, and observation gives you wisdom. Let others make noise. You stay still and smart. There's strength in not responding, in knowing when to speak and when to retreat. You don't lose power by being silent, you sharpen it. Like a sword in a sheath, your energy remains intact, untouched, and ready. Chaos wants your presence. It wants your reaction. But silence is absence with purpose. It's how you starve drama. It's how you remove your soul from battles that were never meant for you. People may think you're avoiding things by being silent, but the truth is, You're avoiding destruction. You've seen what chaos does. You've felt the cost. And now you choose peace like your life depends on it. Because it does. Sometimes your silence is not about others. It's about you. It's your healing space, your reset button, your boundary. You step back, not because you're weak, but because you refuse to be pulled into what poisons your spirit. Silence is where you hear your intuition clearly. It's where answers rise that noise would drown. Chaos is loud on purpose. It's trying to distract you. But silence reveals everything. It shows you who people really are. Don't fear losing people by being quiet. Fear losing yourself by always reacting. You don't have to match their volume. You don't have to prove your point every time. Sometimes your silence is your separation from what no longer serves you. In silence, you get to choose your response, not just deliver one. You regain the power to decide if something even deserves your attention. Chaos wants urgency, but silence gives you space. And that space is where your clarity lives. You can't fix everything with noise. Some healing happens in quiet. Some growth requires distance. The answers you've been chasing often arrive in moments of calm. Silence is not emptiness. It's where everything real begins. Let them talk. Let them spin stories. Your peace doesn't need defense. It needs discipline. Choose to be silent, not because you're scared, but because you're secure. You don't have to fight every battle. Some you simply outgrow. Silence is a language only strong people understand. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need attention. It needs courage. It takes courage to be calm when chaos is pressing all your buttons. But that's where true maturity shows. The real test of growth is how little you react to the things that once provoked you. When you reach that point, chaos loses its grip. You become rooted, centered, unshaken. That's the power of choosing silence. And at the end of it all, remember this. Silence is not the absence of a response. It is your highest form of one. It says everything without saying a word. And when chaos knocks again, you'll know how to answer with peace. Silence is where your power regenerates. Every time you choose to be quiet instead of reactive, you give your soul room to breathe. Chaos wants urgency, wants you impulsive. But silence lets you pause, see clearly, and act with intention, not emotion. You've been conditioned to believe silence is weakness, but in truth, it's restraint, it's emotional maturity, it's the strength to walk away when others would explode. It's refusing to let someone else's storm drown your stillness. When you stop arguing with chaos, you rise above it. You no longer let drama pull you into its cycle. Your silence becomes your protection, a shield that deflects noise, projection, and manipulation. That's not running away. That's self-mastery. The more you embrace silence, the more you'll see who was really speaking for you, your soul or your ego. The ego reacts. The soul reflects. Silence lets you step out of reaction and into reflection, which is where real answers live. Some things aren't worth explaining. Some people aren't worth arguing with. Your peace isn't a debate. Your silence is your boundary. Let the noise pass by. Let the storm rage on. You are the I, calm, centered, and unmoved. You don't owe everyone a reply. You don't need to clarify every choice. People who value chaos will always find something to question. You're not here to please them. You're here to protect your alignment. When you stay silent, you allow your energy to speak. And energy never lies. You don't have to raise your voice when your peace already makes a statement. Your calm presence is louder than their loud opinions. The most peaceful people are not those who have no conflict, but those who no longer participate in unnecessary ones. They know the cost of chaos and the value of peace. Silence is their currency, and they spend it wisely. Silence gives you space to observe without absorbing, to witness what's happening without losing yourself in it. When you detach emotionally, you gain perspective, and perspective is what chaos can never give you. Being unbothered doesn't mean being unaware. It means being unwilling to lose yourself for things that don't deserve you. Silence protects that. It creates a distance that allows you to remain clear, kind, and in control. Chaos pulls you outward. Silence pulls you inward. And when you're inward, you connect with your truth. That's where wisdom lives. That's where peace grows. That's where no one can reach unless invited. You can say more with your absence than your words ever could. When you go quiet, people feel the shift. They notice the boundary. And if they don't, that only confirms why you went silent in the first place. Choosing silence doesn't mean letting things slide. It means letting them go. Not everything deserves your response. Not every offense needs your defense. The greatest strength is not in the clapback. It's in the let go. In silence, you build resilience. You learn how to process without reacting, to reflect without spiraling. And over time, silence stops being uncomfortable. It becomes a home, a safe place, a sanctuary from the world's chaos. Sometimes silence is the bridge between your past and your future. It's the space where transformation begins, where the noise of yesterday fades and the clarity of tomorrow starts to speak. Stay there. Let it work on you. Let people think you're distant. Let them call you quiet. That's not your concern. Your silence isn't about them. It's about self-preservation. You've outgrown loud rooms filled with empty voices. There's a difference between shutting down and choosing silence. One is fear. The other is strength. You're not hiding. You're healing. You're not escaping. You're evolving. And silence is how you stay aligned with that process. Silence protects your vision. It shields your goals from unnecessary criticism. When you stop announcing every move, you stop inviting every opinion. Not everything needs to be said. Some things need to be sacred. You don't need to argue your worth. You don't need to validate your peace. The right people will feel your silence and understand it. The wrong ones will feel threatened. That's your filter. That's how you know who belongs. Silence is how you stop bleeding in places that never cared you were wounded. It's how you remove yourself from conversations where your truth was always twisted. It's how you honor your heart in a world that shouts over it. Choosing silence over chaos doesn't make you boring. It makes you powerful. It shows the world that you don't need drama to feel alive, that your peace is no longer negotiable, that your soul has finally found rest. And when they ask, "Why did you stop responding?" you can smile, stay silent, and walk away. Because peace doesn't prove itself. It just lives. And that silence is everything. There's nothing more disruptive to chaos than someone who refuses to be reactive. That's the weapon silence gives you. Not louder arguments, but unshakable calm. When you no longer take the bait, you rise above the trap. Silence teaches you how to sit with yourself, to understand your reactions before they turn into regret. It creates space between the trigger and the response. And in that space, you grow. You gain back your power. Some people want noise because silence exposes them. They don't want you to think. They want you to react. But silence forces truth to surface. And when truth shows up, chaos loses its disguise. You've been through enough to know that not everything needs your voice. Some moments require presence, not performance. Some situations call for stillness, not statements. That's how peace matures, in quiet strength. Silence is clarity. It removes the smoke and mirrors that drama hides behind. When you go quiet, the real becomes obvious. Who's for you, who drains you, and who only showed up for the chaos, all revealed in your stillness. When you speak from a triggered place, you lose accuracy. But when you respond from silence, you gain precision. You stop shooting wild emotions and start aiming with purpose. Silence helps you hit the truth directly. Letting go of the need to explain is freedom. Not everyone will get it. Not everyone is meant to. Some people only understand volume, but you've evolved. Your peace no longer needs to be translated. Don't feel guilty for not reacting. That guilt is just conditioning. You've been taught to defend, to prove, to respond. But silence is how you unlearn survival and step into strength. Let it feel unfamiliar. That's how you know it's working. Silence is the boundary that doesn't require discussion. It simply is. It's the wall that keeps out unnecessary battles. It's the pause that prevents escalation. It's the quiet that says, I'm no longer available for this. You don't always have to clap back to protect your name. Sometimes the silence does that for you. Over time, your character will speak louder than their noise, and those watching will know who stood in truth. When chaos knocks, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. So why respond? Why explain? Why invite noise into a life you're working so hard to quiet? Let your silence be your gatekeeper. You're not walking away from the person. You're walking away from the pattern, the cycle, the chaos that keeps repeating itself. Silence breaks that loop. It disrupts what arguing never could. In silence, you begin to notice your peace more. You feel how heavy the noise was, how unnecessary the back and forth became, and how free you are now. Not because they changed, but because you chose not to dance with chaos anymore. There is power in mastering your tongue, in knowing when to speak and when to step back. Silence doesn't mean you have no voice. It means your voice is now being used with wisdom, not impulse. Some people only understand chaos. That's their language. But you're learning a new one, a language of calm, intention, and restraint. You're not silent because you're afraid. You're silent because you've grown. Silence doesn't seek revenge. It doesn't plot a comeback. It simply moves forward. It builds a new story without announcing every chapter. It wins in stillness while others waste energy on being seen. You don't need to prove that you're healed. Your silence proves it. It shows that you're not entertaining what once broke you, that you've outgrown the battles that used to define your days. Keep choosing the quiet path, the one that doesn't make headlines but makes peace, the one that doesn't impress everyone but protects everything. Chaos is loud, but peace is lasting. Let the world call you distant, detached, different. They don't understand that silence is how you survive, how you stay whole, how you keep your heart unpolluted in a world that feeds on noise. When they no longer have your reactions, they lose their grip. That's the secret chaos doesn't want you to know. Silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It removes their control and returns it to you. Every silent decision you make creates space for deeper healing, for higher thinking, for intentional living. You're not avoiding the world, you're rebuilding within it, and peace is your foundation now. So the next time chaos calls, don't answer. Let it echo into emptiness. Let your silence stand, because true power isn't in how loud you are, it's in how little they can shake you. Chapter 11. Protecting energy is self-love in action. You don't need a grand explanation to protect your energy. The act itself is a declaration. I matter. Every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to your growth. That's not selfish. That's self-love in motion. Self-love isn't just bubble baths and affirmations. It's boundaries. It's hard decisions. It's leaving a conversation that feels toxic and choosing quiet over chaos. Protecting your energy is how you show up for the version of you that's healing. Every time you allow yourself to step back from what's heavy, you tell your inner child, I've got you now. That's the real healing, not in shouting your worth, but in guarding it like it's sacred. Because it is. People will question your boundaries when they can no longer benefit from your lack of them. Let them. You're not responsible for their disappointment. You're responsible for your alignment. The more you grow, the more you realize how valuable your energy is. You can't give it to everyone. Not everyone deserves your time. Not every situation needs your attention. Some things deserve your distance, not your presence. You're not cold for creating space. You're not rude for choosing rest. You've just learned how to listen to your nervous system, and that's wisdom. Protecting your peace is protecting your health, mind, body, and soul. There's power in choosing not to argue, in choosing not to explain, in walking away quietly when your spirit feels off. That's self-respect. That's emotional maturity. That's what love for yourself looks like in action. You won't always be understood when you choose yourself. That's okay. You're not living to be understood. You're living to be well. And sometimes wellness requires distance from anything that feels like war. Stop letting guilt guide your decisions. If it drains you, it's too expensive. If it confuses you, it's not worth it. Peace is the real wealth, and the moment you prioritize it, you start living richer in every way. Not everyone deserves full access to you. Your energy is a limited resource. Be generous with love, but strict with access. The people who respect your boundaries are the ones who deserve your presence. You are not here to carry everything. You are not a container for chaos. Start asking, does this add to my life or subtract from it? If the answer is subtraction, the solution is separation. Simple, director, loving. Protecting your energy means not showing up to every conversation, not attending every event, not entertaining every emotion. It's stepping back without explanation and standing firm without guilt. You don't owe consistency to what exhausts you. You owe loyalty to your healing. You're allowed to change your mind, to outgrow people, to choose differently. Growth isn't betrayal, it's evolution. Let go of the belief that protecting your energy makes you selfish. It makes you whole. You're choosing to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. That's not selfish. That's survival. Every time you listen to your body, you reclaim yourself. That heaviness, that tight chest, that knot in your stomach, that's not random. That's your spirit signaling. This space is no longer safe. Honor it. Some things aren't meant to be fixed, just left behind. You're not a project manager for broken people. You're not a mechanic for toxic relationships. Your job is to protect your energy and walk away clean. Your energy is your currency. Spend it on joy, on clarity, on calm conversations and sacred routines. Stop bankrupting yourself for things that don't deposit peace into your life. That's emotional economics. You heal faster when you stop letting people reopen the wounds, when you stop explaining your limits to those who only push them. Protecting your energy isn't a wall, it's a filter, and it saves your life. You don't need a list of reasons to rest. You don't need anyone's permission to step back. If your peace is on the line, your answer should be automatic. No. Protecting your energy is protecting your future. You can love someone and still protect your space from them. Love doesn't mean unlimited access. Love means knowing when to pause, when to step back, and when to put yourself first. That's not rejection. That's self-preservation. You were not born to be drained. You were not born to be depleted. You were born to glow, to create, to expand. And the only way to do that is to guard your peace like it's the key to everything, because it is. Protecting your energy isn't an act of defense. It's an act of love. It's choosing not to explain your worth, not to justify your healing, not to prove your value. It's choosing you every single time. Protecting your energy is realizing that not everyone deserves to know your heart. Some only want your warmth when it's convenient. Others only show up when it benefits them. Keep your peace guarded. Not everyone is meant to carry it. You can be a good person and still walk away. Being kind doesn't mean being available to everything. Love doesn't mean overextending. You can care deeply and still create distance. That's what real self-love learns to balance. When you start protecting your energy, you'll lose some people, but you'll find yourself. You'll discover parts of you that were hidden under guilt, noise, and obligation. That's the beautiful trade-off. Peace for presence. People will notice when you change your energy. They'll feel the space you used to fill. Don't shrink just because they question your shift. Keep choosing you. The ones who get it will stay. The ones who don't were draining you anyway. Every yes you give out of guilt becomes resentment later. Protecting your energy means saying no, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about staying whole. You can't pour from an empty soul. Energy protection means silence sometimes. Turning off your phone, saying no to a call, cancelling a plan, sitting in stillness. The world tells you to go, 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 but your soul heals in stop, rest, and breathe. You are not a fixer of all things. You are not a solution to everyone's storm. Let people sit with their own chaos. Let them grow from it. Your peace is not a life raft for everyone to climb onto. Stop thinking you owe people your time just because they ask for it. You owe yourself a life that feels light, that feels aligned, and that starts with deciding who gets access and who doesn't. Protecting your energy is releasing the habit of explaining your boundaries. They're yours. They don't need validation. They don't need to be justified. They just need to be honored, especially by you. The more you protect your peace, the clearer your world becomes. You start noticing where you were leaking energy, who was taking without returning, what spaces made you small, and you begin to reclaim every piece of yourself. Some invitations are really traps. They come dressed as opportunities but drain your energy. They look shiny but leave you empty. Say no with confidence. Your intuition knows the cost. Listen. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to say yes to every call, every message, every ask. Sometimes protecting your energy is doing less and meaning more. Fewer moves, deeper purpose. You won't always be able to explain why a space feels wrong. Trust that. Your soul picks up on things your mind can't yet see. Don't wait for proof to protect your peace. Trust the tension. It's enough. Let go of feeling bad for needing space. You're not a robot. You're not an endless source of emotional labor. You're allowed to unplug, to recharge, to choose stillness over stimulation. Not all emotional fatigue is from overwork. Sometimes it's from overgiving, from overcaring, from overextending. Protecting your energy is stepping back to remember you deserve rest, too. People who truly love you will respect your boundaries. They won't guilt-trip you for needing space. They'll understand that your energy isn't infinite, and they'll help protect it, not exploit it. There's no reward for being emotionally exhausted all the time. Burnout doesn't mean you're doing enough. It means you've ignored your needs too long. Protecting your energy is choosing balance over burnout. Even good things can drain you if you're not careful. Too much noise, too much giving, too much trying to be everything to everyone. Protecting your energy is learning to say, this is too much, even if it's good. You are not weak for needing time alone. You're wise, you're aware, you're human. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's how your soul resets. Give yourself permission to pause without guilt. Some people are only connected to you through your lack of boundaries. When you start protecting your peace, they'll fade. Let them. The peace that follows is more valuable than their presence ever was. Protecting your energy is how you love yourself out loud, not in words, but in choices, in what you walk away from, in what you no longer accept, in what you no longer explain. It's the quiet revolution of self-worth. And most of all, protecting your energy is remembering that your light is sacred. Not everyone should have a front row seat to it. Guard it like it matters, because it does. It's your life force. Protect it fiercely. You'll know your energy is protected when your days feel lighter, when your heart isn't always racing, when your mind isn't overloaded with the noise of others. That's when you'll realize how much peace you were sacrificing just to be available. Not every relationship is meant to last, especially the ones that require you to abandon yourself to keep them. Protecting your energy means ending connections that cost you your clarity. Some closures are actually beginnings. You're not hard to love. You've just stopped allowing love that drains you. You're no longer available for one-sided effort, for forced conversations, for fake apologies. That's not bitterness, that's self-awareness. When your energy is low, everything feels heavier. That's why protection isn't optional, it's essential. You don't wait until your phone hits 0% to charge it. Why wait until your spirit is depleted to protect it? Don't apologize for saying no to things that used to break you. Growth means knowing what you can't afford to revisit, what your spirit no longer fits into. Saying no is an act of self-respect, not defiance. Your body always knows when your energy is being drained. Listen to the tension in your chest, the tightness in your shoulders, the fatigue that hits for no reason. That's not laziness. That's a warning sign. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is step away. Not with anger, not with drama, just with calm certainty that your peace matters more than anyone's opinion of your silence. People won't always understand your journey. That's okay. They weren't meant to walk it. Protecting your energy means releasing the need to be understood and embracing the need to be aligned. It's not your job to carry what others refuse to heal. You can care without carrying. You can love without losing yourself. Protecting your energy is how you stay full without being used up. The more you protect your space, the more your soul will begin to breathe again. You'll notice you laugh easier, sleep better, and think more clearly. That's not a coincidence. That's the cost of peace, finally paying off. There will be moments when old habits try to pull you back. People-pleasing, over-explaining, saying yes too fast. But pause, breathe. You've come too far to keep abandoning yourself to keep the peace with others. You don't need to chase people who make you feel hard to love. Real love doesn't drain you, it nurtures you. And the moment you start protecting your energy, you stop accepting anything less than that. Time doesn't heal what you keep reopening. If you want peace, stop revisiting the places that kept you anxious. Protecting your energy means closing doors you once kept unlocked out of fear or guilt. You have permission to unplug, to cancel plans, to log off, to disappear for a day. You are not a machine, you're a human being. And sometimes protecting your energy means doing absolutely nothing. The right people will never punish you for protecting your peace. They'll honor it, support it, match it. If someone needs you to be emotionally available 24/7 to feel loved, that's not love, that's dependency. Not everyone deserves access to your healing. Some people only show up to watch, not to support. Guard your space like it's sacred, because it is. Your healing deserves silence, not spectators. One of the highest forms of self-love is filtering your environment. Who you let near, what you consume, what you tolerate. You become who you surround yourself with, so choose peace over popularity every time. There's no pride in being emotionally exhausted for the approval of others. Stop burning yourself out, trying to be enough for people who barely show up for themselves. Protecting your energy means stepping back from emotional debt. The moment you start putting yourself first, the world may call you selfish. Let them. Only those who benefit from your self-abandonment will fear your boundaries. And their opinion is not your responsibility. Self-love is not loud. It's not always poetic. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it looks like sleeping early, drinking water, or walking away without explanation. Protecting your energy is often quiet, but it's always powerful. You weren't born to live in survival mode. You weren't created to carry every burden just to prove you're strong. Let that go. Let people down if it means lifting yourself up. Your peace is worth the shift. In the end, protecting your energy is an act of remembering your worth. It's choosing yourself without apology. It's honoring your journey without guilt. Because nothing around you will ever be right if you keep abandoning what's within you. Chapter 12. Build a life that doesn't need constant defending. You don't have to keep explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. The more grounded you become, the less you feel the need to prove anything. A peaceful life speaks louder than a loud defense. When you know who you are, you stop living to correct others. You stop chasing clarity from people who can't see beyond their own perspective. You start letting your results, your peace, and your presence speak for themselves. A strong life is built in silence and lived in clarity. It doesn't shout for validation. It doesn't beg for approval. When your values align with your actions, there's nothing left to argue. That's the power of quiet confidence. The need to constantly defend your choices often comes from the fear of being judged. But judgment will always exist, no matter how perfect you try to be. So instead of shaping your life around opinions, build it around your truth. Defending your every move is exhausting. It keeps you in a state of performance, not peace. Let go of the habit of always explaining your why. Not everyone deserves an answer. Some just want access, not understanding. You weren't born to live in defense mode. You weren't created to live life through filters, shields, and disclaimers. Freedom begins when you stop shrinking yourself for comfort and start standing firm in quiet conviction. A life built on integrity doesn't need to argue, it just is. And when your actions match your values, you naturally outgrow the need to convince anyone of your worth. Your life becomes the message, not your words. Sometimes the people who demand explanations are the ones who don't deserve them. Their confusion is not your responsibility. Protect your peace by choosing your silence wisely. Let your alignment do the talking. The more peaceful your life becomes, the less tolerance you'll have for unnecessary debates. You'll stop giving energy to what doesn't grow you. You'll start choosing solitude over situations that steal your clarity. You don't owe access to people just because they ask for it. You don't have to justify your boundaries to those who cross them. When you live in alignment, every no becomes easier. Every decision becomes cleaner. You were not made to constantly defend the softest parts of yourself. Your healing doesn't need an audience. Your progress doesn't need permission. Live boldly and let others be confused if they choose to be. A strong foundation isn't built by shouting down every critic. It's built by consistent, quiet work. It's waking up every day and showing up for your life. It's knowing that who you are privately is more powerful than what people say publicly. You don't need everyone to understand your vision. It wasn't given to them. The more you explain, the more you dilute it. Focus on building. Let the results remove the doubt. Time reveals what words can't. Let people talk. Let them assume. You're not responsible for correcting every false narrative. Keep building. Keep growing. The life you're creating will eventually be too undeniable to ignore. When your energy is directed toward proving your worth, you're distracted from living it. Reclaim that energy. Use it to build, heal, rest, and rise. Let your progress be your loudest reply. You don't need to respond to every rumor, every opinion, every doubt. People project from their limitations. But you're building from vision, from intention, from peace. Let that guide you forward. It's not your job to fit into the version of you someone else created in their mind. Let them be disappointed. That's their expectation to manage, not your life to adjust. Build a life that feels good on the inside, even if it looks confusing on the outside. Peace doesn't always photograph well, but it lives well. And that's the difference between performance and purpose. You don't need the spotlight to shine, you just need authenticity. Real joy is quiet. Real healing is private. Real power doesn't scream, it settles into you and radiates through how you carry yourself. Don't waste your breath defending decisions that came from your healing. Not everyone will see the battles you fought in silence, but that's okay. You're not here for applause. You're here for peace. Live so intentionally that your life becomes your boundary. The wrong people will fall away, not because you pushed them, but because they couldn't exist in the environment you've created. And most of all, remember this: a life that doesn't need constant defending is a life led by truth. When your inner world is in order, the outer noise fades. You no longer need to explain, you simply live. When your life is rooted in truth, silence becomes your defense. You stop rushing to prove who you are. You stop trying to explain your heart to those who refuse to see it. You simply live and let your peace do the talking. A life built on intention doesn't beg for acceptance. It doesn't shift for every opinion. It knows where it stands. And because of that, it doesn't need to shout. It becomes steady, whole, grounded. You outgrow the urge to explain when you finally value your time and spirit. Defending yourself over and over drains the same energy you could be using to evolve. Protect your focus. Not everyone deserves your effort. When people can't control you, they'll try to confuse others about you. Let them. Truth doesn't compete. It doesn't panic. It rises quietly and consistently until there's nothing left to deny. You don't need to post everything, share everything, prove everything. A beautiful life is often lived in layers that no one sees. Let your joy be private. Let your progress be sacred. Let your life belong to you. Living in defense mode keeps you anxious, keeps you tense, always waiting for the next attack. But when you learn to stop explaining and start existing, truly existing, you take back that peace they tried to drain. Some people don't want clarity. They want control. They'll ask you to explain, not because they care, but because they want to manipulate your response. Don't play that game. Let your peace be louder than their confusion. The more you explain, the more you open the door to unnecessary judgment. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to close that door and keep walking. No drama, just distance. You can't grow if you keep watering everyone else's doubt. Let them think what they want. You have more important things to do, like building the version of you that no one sees coming. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every opinion is yours to fix. The moment you realize that, you become lighter. You gain time, clarity, and energy, and with that, you begin building a life on your terms. You can't fully heal in spaces where you're constantly defending your existence. If a room makes you feel like you need to prove yourself, it's not your room. Leave with your peace, not your apology. What you tolerate today becomes your normal tomorrow. Set the tone early. Let your life reflect your standards. Not everyone will understand your elevation. That's fine. You're not climbing for them. Build your life like a fortress, not out of fear, but out of value. Fill it with things that keep you whole, with people who lift you, with moments that nourish you. That kind of life defends itself. You don't need to write essays to explain your boundaries. You don't need to craft speeches for your healing. The more secure you are, the less you say. The more powerful you become, the quieter you grow. When you build from peace, people will call it boring. When you walk away from drama, people will say you're cold. Let them speak. Let them wonder. Their noise does not deserve your rearranged life. You are not required to shrink yourself so someone else feels comfortable. If your truth makes someone uncomfortable, let it. Don't make yourself small to fit into someone else's limited view. A steady life doesn't mean a perfect life. It means a life no longer built on emotional chaos. It means you've chosen peace over proving, clarity over clashing, and healing over noise. Sometimes people push your buttons just to get a reaction. Starve that cycle. Build a life where your reactions are intentional, not automatic. That's how you take back your power. You don't always need to announce the next step. Some of your most powerful moves should be done in silence. The less you reveal, the more protected you become. Guard your next level with peace, not performance. Defending yourself constantly keeps you in a cycle of self-doubt. But when you trust your decisions, you step into self-trust. And self-trust is what allows you to move forward without explanation. When you find your rhythm, you stop needing applause. When you find your peace, you stop needing permission. You realize that the best life is one that feels right, not one that looks right to others. In the end, your life is your message. Let it reflect your growth, your boundaries, your inner calm. And when the world asks who you are, let the peace in your presence answer for you. You don't need to fight to be seen when your peace already confirms your presence. Every time you choose calm over chaos, clarity over conflict, you send a message. You're no longer entertaining what costs you your center. Some of the most powerful moments in life are the ones no one sees. The quiet decisions, the firm boundaries, the walkaways that didn't require a scene. That's where real strength lives, in the silence of knowing you chose yourself. People who love to argue won't understand your peace. They'll mistake your calm for weakness and your boundaries for arrogance. Let them. You're not here to win debates. You're here to win back your time, your energy, and your soul. You don't build a strong life by answering every critic. You build it by showing up every day with consistency and purpose. Over time, results silence rumors. Peace outlasts pettiness. Truth reveals itself. When you stop defending everything, you start protecting your focus. That focus becomes your fuel. It helps you build a future that feels right, not perform right. One that aligns with your soul, not with someone else's expectations. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you heal, for why you left, for what you need. Your healing is your business. It's personal, sacred, and complex. Let your peace be your closure. Let silence be your shield. They'll say you changed, that you're distant, that you're different. That's exactly right. You grew. You evolved. You outgrew the version of yourself who kept proving their worth. That version wasn't peace. It was survival. You don't need to justify your elevation to people who are addicted to your old version. Let them think you disappeared. Let them wonder where you went. You went inward. You chose self-respect over self-sacrifice. Build a life that whispers confidence, not one that screams desperation. Let your inner calm be the loudest thing about you. A peaceful life doesn't demand attention. It attracts it by simply being real. Stop inviting people to question what you've already settled within yourself. When you know who you are, the outside noise becomes just that, noise. It no longer enters. It no longer matters. Living in alignment means waking up without dread, going to bed without explaining your choices. It means your life is no longer a debate. It's a declaration, a quiet, grounded, unapologetic truth. People will challenge your silence. They'll poke at your peace. But don't be baited. When you respond to everything, you lose control. But when you pause, breathe, and observe, you stay rooted. That's your power. You weren't born to explain your essence. You were born to embody it. Every moment you spend trying to convince someone you're worthy is a moment taken from actually becoming who you were meant to be. There's a certain glow that comes with living undisturbed. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's soft, calm. It radiates from within. That glow is earned by choosing yourself again and again without apology. You don't need to fight for what's aligned. What's truly meant for you won't require constant defense. It will feel peaceful. It will stay. It will honor your growth instead of questioning your transformation. Sometimes you grow in ways that make people uncomfortable. Let them be. You didn't come this far to keep explaining your light to those still comfortable in the dark. Let your growth offend. It means you're evolving. Let your progress confuse them. Let your peace surprise them. Let your silence speak volumes. The life you're building no longer fits into shallow conversations or one-sided expectations. The goal isn't to be loud, it's to be stable, to wake up with clarity, move with peace, and sleep without regret. Loud lives often crumble. Quiet lives often stand tall. Choose the one built on truth. You don't need to go where noise is celebrated. You belong where growth is respected. Build your life in the shadows if you must. Great things grow quietly before they ever shine loudly. You owe it to yourself to protect your inner world, to guard your energy like it matters, because it does. If the world doesn't understand your shift, that's fine. Your transformation was never meant to be explained, only lived. A defended life is a distracted life, but a protected life, that's purpose, that's power, that's peace. Choose the one that doesn't ask you to bleed for validation. Choose the one that feels like home. And when it's all said and done, may your life speak so clearly that you never have to raise your voice to be heard again. You don't need to be loud to be solid. A solid life is quiet because it's complete. It doesn't shake every time someone disagrees. It doesn't crumble under judgment. It just stands, rooted in purpose, not performance. When you build your life on inner peace, outside noise loses its power. You stop reacting, you stop chasing, you stop trying to correct every misstep in someone else's perception, because you're finally walking in alignment, not defense. The strongest people are the ones who stay calm while being questioned, who keep building while being criticized, who keep growing without explaining every move. That's strength, not in the volume of your words, but in the quiet of your walk. Some people only listen to respond, not to understand. You could explain yourself 100 ways, and it would never be enough. So stop explaining. Live in a way that makes words unnecessary. You don't have to post about every win. You don't have to speak on every struggle. The most sacred growth is silent. The most powerful transformation is private. That's how you build a life no one can take credit for. Constant defending turns your life into a debate. And debates aren't for peace. They're for performance. Let others talk. You keep moving. Your peace is worth more than a temporary audience. You won't always be able to explain your decisions to others, but you don't have to. If it brings you peace, protects your energy, and honors your growth, that's your answer. Let the rest go. Live your life like a sacred space, not a courtroom. You're not on trial. You don't need a defense for your boundaries, your silence, your healing. Let your peace be your closing argument. A defended life is constantly seeking approval. A peaceful life just moves. It flows. It detaches from what no longer fits. And it doesn't need to drag anyone along for validation. Peace doesn't plead. Some people stay loud because silence makes them feel forgotten. But you're learning the value of stillness, of creating from calm, of living in truth that doesn't demand recognition, just realness. When you stop defending yourself, you finally hear yourself. You tune into what matters, your mind clears, your emotions settle, and in that stillness you begin to build a life that actually feels like yours. Don't trade your clarity for applause. A standing ovation is loud, but short-lived. A quiet mind, a peaceful heart, and a purposeful path, those are the things that will last. Build your life on those. A life that needs defending isn't truly yours, it's shaped by reaction. But a life you don't have to explain, that's power, that's maturity, that's freedom. And freedom always feels better than fitting in. You don't need to update everyone when you grow. Just grow. Let your evolution speak louder than your explanations. People who are meant to stay will adjust. The rest will fall off. And that's part of the process. There is strength in letting your results defend you. When your actions are rooted in purpose, you no longer argue with critics. You simply rise, quietly, consistently, and completely on your own terms. You don't have to rush to prove you've changed. You don't have to convince anyone that you're better now. If it's real, it will show. And the people who matter won't need an explanation. They'll just feel the shift. A life in defense mode is exhausting, but a life in alignment? That's effortless. It doesn't mean it's always easy, but it flows better because nothing is forced. You've stopped explaining. Now you're just living. The moment you stop defending yourself, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your voice. You reclaim your focus. Now, your energy belongs to your purpose, not your pain. That's when the building truly begins. Sometimes peace requires letting go of your need to be understood. Let them misunderstand. You weren't born to be a mirror for their comfort. You were born to reflect your truth. Keep your life so aligned that even your absence speaks peace. That when you walk away, people feel the calm you left behind. That's the mark of someone who built something real and never needed to prove it. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them question. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to keep building, quietly, boldly, consistently, until the life you've built speaks louder than any voice around you. And when that day comes, when you wake up, feel light, and owe no one an explanation, you'll know. You've built something unshakable, not for the world, but for yourself. And that is more than enough. Your energy is sacred. Not everyone gets to touch it. Not everyone gets to stay. You don't owe access to people who drain you. You owe peace to the version of you that's still healing. Protect your space. Guard your mind. Respect your own boundaries, even when others don't. Because the moment you stop handing out your power is the moment you start living in it. This isn't just emotional intelligence, it's survival. And now you're ready.